Your phone on mute.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. How about 15 seconds after? 10 seconds after?
10's good.
10's good. All right.
Look at us starting like right at 10.
10.
Boom.
Ow, now, brown gal.
We're live.
We are.
Well.
Hello. Hi.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. How is thou?
Thou is tired of glazing.
Dude, for reals.
Well, I was glazing a bunch over the weekend, and then I just got back from Baker Hunt. We were doing a throw-a-thon for Clay Alliance. So every year, if nobody knows, I'm the treasurer board member of Clay Alliance, which is the local like clay guild here in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, kind of tri-state area. So every year we do a fundraiser called Empty Bowls. There's empty bowls all around the country. I'm sure you've heard of it. And they do, a lot of different ways to throw bowls, or people just donate them. So the last few years we've been doing throw-a-thons, where we just get a community of us together, whether they're Clay Alliance members or not. And then we threw 200 bowls, I think about a week and a half ago. And so we spent an evening for about 4 hours throwing bowls, and then getting them on boards. And then the next day we trimmed them. And then tonight we came back and glazed them. So it's kind of like you sign up for different spots based on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I've kind of helped on all 3 of the days so far. But yeah, actually glazing wasn't that bad. I feel we got there like 5 and we got done by like 7:15 and we had 200 bowls. So
well, when you don't care,
yeah,
it's a lot easier.
True.
When you're just we're gonna single dip these.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think any of us just did one color.
Oh, that's good.
So, and I was pretty systematic with it, with writing on pots.
I can't imagine
doing I would usually do 6 at a time and try to get a variety. But I think a lot of people look at the the glaze matrix on the wall and see which ones look good, and there's probably a lot of overlap with each of us because we're not hey, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing?
So, but it's okay.
But it was fun. Yeah, so I got back home and I actually unloaded I unloaded the rest of a kiln. I unloaded one yesterday, and 2 kilns worth. I need to replace my elements in the one.
Ooh.
So I'm kind of dreading that. I've basically been just firing in the other one. I did a bisque fire in the L&Ls because you can see the elements are whop. They're 45 degrees on their side.
Yeah.
So we'll replace that probably next week, maybe.
I have my thermocouples on mine are just really sad.
Yeah.
And I usually have all the thermocouples I need to replace it whenever they blow, but I don't right now. And so I'm just hoping that nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, mine on the L&L are completely contained inside the porcelain tube. So I can't really see how the thermocouple life looks like, but I'll replace them along with the elements anyways. But yeah, not looking forward to that. I've basically just been picking and choosing when I use that kiln just to be safe.
Yeah.
I would feel worse losing a whole kiln load or having it go out when I desperately need it to. Or need it. So I'm just using the other one for the time being. And the other one gets up and down quicker anyways.
Right.
It's a 7-hour firing versus 10 or 11 hours. So that's 7 cubic foot versus 10 cubic foot.
Yeah. I always do a 10-hour firing basically for glaze regardless, because I always do a 1-hour preheat and a slow firing. So it's usually about 10 hours.
Yeah. I've been doing that
stupid
medium
cone
firing
arts.
kinda.
I actually love cone art kilns, but they take for fucking ever to cool down because they're 3-inch insulation or like 4-inch brick. Like it's ridiculous how insulated they are.
It's that thick?
They're so thick. They're like this thick.
Wow. And the lid is like it seems like
Yeah.
the lid is very thick.
The lid is hefty. Like it's just a fucking hefty kiln, which is
it
great.
A different material too, or is it still like that soft brick,
it's
but it's like compact?
Fire brick. And like on the big ones, it's metal. There's metal on the top of the lid.
That'd be a nice lid to dry your pots on. Dry your greenware on.
Yeah.
I try to utilize that as much as possible. Like if I got some oil bottles, especially if I got some that I just finished carving or whatever in the studio, I'm like, all right, kilns are firing the last couple days. Like, let's get some bottles in there. Let's dry them out.
I don't really use it unless I'm doing big things. Like if I have big bowls and stuff, it's nice to dry them out. But everything else, I've never had anything blow up. So
yeah.
But the big bowls, they will if they're too wet, you know, and
right.
I don't fire them correctly. But yeah.
Yeah. And then I know your car's having some issues. I'm taking mine to get the AC looked at tomorrow. We took it at the end of last week, and I needed it the next day for my show.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, we can look at it. And then they basically just refilled the refrigerant, which is kind of what I was doing anyways, on my own. But they'll look at it tomorrow and see. Hopefully it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But yeah. What's going on with you? I know your car's
I'm stressed. I am
on the fritz.
Stressed.
I don't know if on the fritz is enough to.
Okay, so I was driving to work, or like the studio. I was driving to the studio 2 days ago, and literally my fucking dashboard lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. It was the
Your
ABS
dashboard inside the car?
Like no, all the little lights. So at temp oil light, ABS brake light, uphill climb light, and traction control light all came on.
Holy shit.
And I was like, what the fuck? And so it was driving fine. So I carefully drove to work.
Sensors going all whack? Maybe?
Yeah, so I carefully went to work, and then I asked RJ, our manager, and he did a little dad check for me. Mm-hmm. And then I called or texted a friend whose partner works at Subaru. I have a Subaru Forester, 2014 Subaru Forester, and he was like, that's not good. He's like, basically, it could be anywhere from something minor to your transmission is completely fucked. And so,
do like those basic AutoZone battery check like things give you any information?
I think it would give you a little bit, but it's better to just do a full diagnostic on it so they don't miss anything.
Right.
From what I hear.
Not that you're gonna like go to AutoZone and they're gonna be like, it's all good, but it's here's something to soften the blow of what to expect.
And they did go away. They just went away. Like if I hadn't seen it, I don't know if I would have ever known anything was wrong, you know? So I took it to Subaru yesterday. Thankfully, the dealership is 2 miles from my apartment. So took it, dropped it off in the morning, walked home, had a good 2 mile.
2 mile walk. Wow.
Walk home.
Didn't have any fucking Lime scooters anywhere?
I mean, they did, and I thought about it, but I was like, I mean, it's a good.
Y'all got a lot of potholes. I don't know. You want to drop a scooter in a pothole and get fucked up on the way home.
Yeah, and it was mostly sidewalk, which was nice. You know, there was some just street walking, but it was fine. It was a road I go on every day. So anyway, they call me back, and it's the valve body that's in the transmission. He explained it to me. I wasn't totally.
Anything transmission related is not cheap.
Yeah, and he was like, the cost is gonna be like $1,900 and something dollars, and I'm like, ugh.
Just say 2,000, dude.
I know.
Jeez.
I'm like, shit. So Rebecca dropped me off, picked it up. I can still drive it. It's like fine to drive, but like if I drive it a ton, it'll get worse, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm supposed to go to Memphis tomorrow night because Teresa, my best friend from college, her baby is turning 1 on the 2nd. And so I wonder if you can hear Babs in the litter box. Anyway.
I can't.
Okay. Her baby's turning 1, and it's like, they don't have any family down there or anything. I'm like the closest thing to family they have in the proximity. And so I was like, bad news. Can't come down. So they want me to come down so bad. They actually are paying for a
rental car?
A rental car. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I can't fucking afford a rental car. I have to pay $2,000 to fix my fucking car. And so I have to see, I'm going to look and see if my friend has friends that would fix it for cheaper. But yeah, I was just like, oof. I petitioned with Subaru. I called them today and was like, hey, is there any way you can like help out? Because he told me to try that. And
there's not any like recalls or anything like that related to.
No. And the warranty that I have, they extended my warranty when I got my front end replaced because of an oil consumption issue. And it was to 100,000 miles or 2023. And when they extended the warranty, I was at 90,000 miles.
Oh.
So like.
So that was going to cover you for.
What?
Wait, when did you get it fixed? I mean, 10,000 is pretty standard for a year of driving.
Oh, not for
I think
me.
Typical average driving is like 12,000, but with people working from home a lot more nowadays, it's probably less than 12,000 a year.
Well, as you can imagine, that's not my average. My car's at 143,000 miles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you're driving all the way across the country and then you're driving to Kansas and.
Yeah. So, yeah. And so he was like, no go, we can't help you out, blah, blah, blah. But I'll give you a ticket if you want to buy a new car. You can save $800. Like, fucking thanks. So the issue, I guess, is that like I haven't made a lot of money this week and last week. I haven't made any money this week. And I'm like stressing out over it, and my emergency fund is literally $1,975. Like that's all I have.
Yeah, and you're not going credit card with it, it sounds like.
No. I mean, I'll probably pay with my credit card and then just pay it off immediately. But yeah, I'm just like, so I've got to put something out on the interwebs and be like, help Becca fix her car, buy some pots,
Car fund.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to be like desperate or anything, but I'm kind of fucking desperate. Like I can find the money. I know I can find the money and it's not going to be an issue, but it's just like really stressful. And like I'm going to buy a van next year. So it's like, why should I put $2,000 into a fucking car that I'm not even going to have for like another year,
Were you planning to keep the car?
I was planning on keeping the car, but if it's going to have this many issues with it, I'm going to fucking sell it.
I mean, is this the first time you've had issues that significant on it with it?
Oh no. This car has been just a bundle of issues.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I've put a lot of money into this car, which is fine. It's paid off and it's fine, but it's just annoying that it keeps kind of like. I mean, it was a brand new car. I bought it brand new.
Oh really?
And it's still got like all of these weird fucking things that happen to it. And I don't know if it's just because I'm rough on things, which is true, or if it's like just the car. Like I
always wonder how much weird beatings like cars can take with like neglecting certain things.
Yeah, I mean
that if you get the standard like oil change, I mean I'm not getting 3,000 mile oil changes. I'm getting like 5,000 or 6,000 mile oil changes.
Well, it's synthetic. You're not even supposed to get them for 7,000.
How how rough can you be on it? And like,
right.
If, well, and the whole replacing fluids and getting tune-ups every now and then and alignments, like I get it, but like,
and like I'm up to date on everything. Like we've done the 100,000 mile check. We've done all the things. Like I'm pretty solid on my like car maintenance,
brakes, and
I do my own oil. Like everything is up to snuff. I got brand new brakes in December. I got brand new tires. Like I'm not like a, 20-year-old college student that doesn't take care of their car, but it's just
Yeah.
it's just frustrating when it's just like
I think that's just gonna happen with
Mhm.
the amount of miles you're putting on it too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's at almost 150,000 miles. Like,
Yeah.
like it's at 2014.
I mean, how
and
many miles are you
150,000.
driving from Indy all the way across the country and back?
A lot.
Like
I think it's
3,000?
2,000 one
2,000?
way. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a situation where you would probably want to, I would think you would probably want to like change your oil, not right when you get back, but like closer to like 3 or 4,000 miles
Oh, yeah,
versus
for sure.
because you're putting so much
Yeah.
wear and tear on it in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, and remember, like when we were at Claycon West, I was like, "Fuck, I need to get my oil changed," and I got it changed in California, and like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so it's just been a fucking thing, and yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just like in my head trying to figure out how the financing is gonna go and like all the things.
Yeah.
So
Can you pick
which
up some short-term work with Rebecca for a short period of time, or you
I
just
don't
don't want to
know.
go there?
I don't know. I think it would be easier just to beg on the interwebs. Um. I mean, like, not beg, but like, be like, hey, buy some
But
pots, like,
yeah.
um, or and like get the earrings up so that people would buy them,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, you'll
well,
start to. Are you taking the ear, or are you going to your show tomorrow? Or you're leaving after your show tomorrow?
the
Your
farmers market.
farmers market?
Yeah, I'm going to the farmers market. I can't
Yeah.
not go.
Are you taking some of the earrings with you?
I think I might.
You might as well. I mean, what's the risk?
Yeah.
I don't know. Take 15 pair.
Yeah.
See what happens.
I feel like I'm not really prepared yet, but I
I
think
mean,
it'll
you
be
could at
fine.
least get some feedback because you've never
Mhm.
shown them to anybody one-on-one, right?
Yeah, no.
Like to get honest customer feedback about them.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've got to like pack up my car. I'm actually taking my old pottery wheel down to Memphis and storing it at Teresa and Brandon's house so that Paige can
Right.
learn how to do pottery. So I've got to like clean it now and get it into the rental car in like a trash bag so that it doesn't just like completely throw up clay everywhere.
You don't have
So
a tarp or something? Like a cheap tarp?
no.
No.
I do have moving blankets though.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be good. I'll do that. That's a good
Or just
good thought.
regular old blankets.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be good.
Good thought. Good thought.
Yeah. That reminds me, I need to take some things to Louisville this weekend. So
Yeah. The last time I got a rental car, I've almost gotten a ticket. I've gotten a ticket or almost gotten a ticket every time I've gotten a rental car. So the last time I had to pick up like chemicals for Josh and
oh,
like
like raw
take him, and I was
materials,
like,
yeah.
please put this huge giant tarp down because this is a black car.
Yeah.
Like it's a black interior.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean,
anyway, that's my
we've had some random house shit, like our fucking garbage disposal. It was already on the fritz, but like now it just won't, like the water just won't even go down in that side. Or
Is
if it
it
does,
backed up? Have you opened it up?
it like trickles. So it was already pretty terrible, and we accidentally threw something in there a few months ago, like those little kind of like plexiglass measuring cups for like making
Oh
cocktails.
no.
One of them accidentally fell in there and it got ground up. There's probably bits in there, but it was already pretty crappy. So I just bought another one
And replace it.
because I got it upstairs. I need to replace it, but we replaced one at the old house, so it's
It's
pretty easy
easy.
to replace. But it's like I just need to dedicate a couple
Yeah.
hours because it is hardwired. So
I ground up some glass piece. I don't know what it was. I
yeah,
it must be like a shot glass or something that I didn't know existed. It completely killed my disposal.
yeah. So yeah, that's been main thing around here. And then Rachel's headlights out because she's got like a little broken area in the fiberglass part or whatever. So we just ordered a new one off eBay, and I gotta install that. I've replaced the bulb in it twice over the last like 2 years, and she's like, it broke again. Like, she's like, I'm not gonna do this again. So I gotta replace her headlight soon.
When I pulled up into Subaru, the guy like walks out, super nice guy, and he's like, well, do you know your passenger side taillight's out? And I was like, nope. He's like, well, let's turn on all the lights and figure out which ones are out. And he's like, well, that one's out, 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 and that one's out. There was like 7 lights that were out.
Are you talking about exterior lights?
Yeah.
What?
Like
7 lights? How are you even driving with 7 lights out?
They were like minor lights. Like my headlights were still on, and it was like 1 brake light, 1 tail during the daylight, and then because I turn my lights on all the time. And he was like, would you like us to replace those for like $130? And I was like, you know what? Just do it. I don't fucking care. Like, I can't even remember which ones were out. Yeah. But I mean, those lights are expensive. Like, just my headlights are $45.
What?
Yeah. For 2 of them, but still, they're expensive.
Are you buying them from the dealership?
No, I buy them from... They're like some special like halogen light or something.
Oh, okay. Actually, I kind of do remember those are, those aren't expensive. Just standard. Yeah, I think Rachel's gotten hers at AutoZone. They're just like the regular standard ones. They're like, I don't know, $10, $12 or something. But yeah. I mean, it's doable to change them yourself. It's just not easy because like the front headlights, you got to like unclip the bumper and like make sure that you can get to it, and it's a little. It's a little finicky.
The front headlights I could do with my eyes closed, honestly. The backs, I don't know exactly how.
Because you have to pull the things back, the like coverings in the back of the car to like get to it and stuff to pop it out.
I don't know if I think I have changed the back ones on the Subaru or not, but like on my old car, you had to like unscrew it from the outside and like pull it out. Crazy.
Yeah. That's actually not bad. I mean, if they're going to replace all of them and pay for the bulbs and stuff for $130, that's probably not that bad, honestly.
Yeah, I was like, the cost of the bulbs was probably just $100. Like if I bought them, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I was like,
some of that stuff is not too bad. It's just like, don't let the things pile up is kind of where I'm at. Like, you know, this is a problem. It's like we have to have a sink. So like, if we do the dishes, the sink water will back up into the sink.
Yeah.
So like taking care of the garbage disposal is like get that done in the next few days. Don't let it sit for like 2 weeks because then Rachel's gonna be on my ass about it.
Yeah.
And it's gonna make me want to do it less.
Yeah, so. I gotta get this car fixed like ASAP.
Yeah.
Because okay, anyway, it's been 20 minutes. Hearing our woes.
Hey, that shit happens when you've got other shit going on that's like,
it does.
I can't focus on that, or I got to focus on this stuff, but like all these other things just creep up randomly. Like,
I know.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, so if anybody needs a shitty cup, now would be the time to buy it. Even when this is out.
Shitty cup, spoon rest, earrings.
Yeah, there's a lot of spoon rests. Yeah, earrings are coming at you. Took pictures with Sarah today, and they look really, really great.
Nice. Yeah, I saw some of those.
We even got one with Pip, her dog, trying to eat one of the earrings. Yeah, funny. Anyway, okay, what are we talking about today?
All right, we just passed our 3-year mark.
Yes.
So I think this is going to be kind of like a reminiscing episode, sort of where we've seen the podcast evolve and maybe some enjoying parts that we had and then some like differences of what we kind of didn't expect or have evolved over time, and just kind of see where it goes. I think so. We want
it to go.
Yeah, we did a 2-year review. I'm trying to see. 2 years of Wheel Talk was episode 106. So that was the last one we did. And what
episode are we on? We should be on 160 something. This will be 164.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that tracks.
We're getting closer and closer.
That tracks with the weeks.
Yep. That's right. We're getting closer and closer to 200.
Yeah.
200. We're not
Nice.
doing a 200 review, right? We're not doing a best of the last
No.
two. We did the best of 100, and it was literally the first like 16 episodes.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that again. That was horrible. That was the worst. That
Unless
was the
somebody out
worst
there wants to deal with this and edit and find
project of my
snippets,
life.
but
No, they can't even do it because I lost all the episodes. Remember, I've lost them. The hard drive broke.
once did you lose
Like
everything?
1 through 70.
No, I meant like episode 100 to 200 is what I meant.
Oh, I don't know. I
No,
don't know which ones I lost.
there's so much content. It's like I don't really want people. We started, back when we were doing that episode, we knew it was coming, so I was being pretty diligent about like going back to parts that I remember and like jotting down timestamps and saying we need to cut out this timestamp and that timestamp
Oh
and
my
that
God, it was
timestamp.
terrible.
And then we were piecing it together, and it was, well, Becca was piecing it together, and it was a nightmare.
It was so bad.
I don't know how much you did before I saw you doing it.
I did a lot before you saw me doing
But
it.
yeah, just that time is like, oh, you need to cut it here. You need to cut it here. And then I'm like, I can kind of intuitively list, because I know kind of what I was looking for, like where to cut it. And
that was at the Berea show.
Yeah. And that was a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
A lot of work.
And I was like trying to be like a team player and like be like, yeah, we can do this. And then we got like one done. I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that again.
It was like part 1, which was like episode 1 through 50.
Yeah.
And part 2, 3, 4 are never coming out ever again.
Ever again.
You got to listen to all the content.
We are not that ambitious. No.
No. Do your best. Ask me about a topic, and then I might be able to tell you an episode number and give you some guidance, but
Right.
Or just tell you a short answer, so you don't
Yeah.
have to go back and listen for 2 hours to find a 5-minute answer that you wanted. But
Yeah. Well, Ryan, in the last 3 years, what do you think has been your favorite episode? I think it'll probably have a interviewer in it.
Well, I had separate ones for interviews. Like
he did homework.
Like favorite interviewee or interviewees. I would say I don't know, when you say favorite, it's kind of like I think of sort of some of the like moments that stood out.
Oh, that's good. We could do that.
And I was kind of thinking like I remember 37 was a good one with the kiln venting talk.
Oh yeah.
And you were like, I think you need a new kiln. And then I was like, trying to legitimize my
and
point.
I was yelling at you.
And you were like, you need to get a new kiln. Stop being well, if you just want to half-ass it, then just do it.
That'll always be like a tops.
Yes. And yeah, I would say that one, or I mean, it depends on what I'm looking at. Like, there's plenty of interview ones, so I'll save that one for a separate question. But that's one that like stood out that I do remember. And it was like early on,
Yeah, it was early on.
Do you have one that stood out or a part of one that you remember?
I don't think that I have a part of any of them because, as we know, my memory is shit. But what I would say is my like favorite episodes are the Q&A episodes. Those ones
really
I fucking love. Yeah, like just like the fun, like the ones where we just kind of like bullshit,
Uh-huh.
I like those episodes. Like, I mean, you know that. Everybody knows that. If it's not structured, I love it. But I do have some like favorite. I would say that my favorite moment was in an interview episode, and that was when I asked if Jesus made the pond
with Josh.
with Josh.
It was like you were so just like not even sarcastic about it.
No. Yeah, I was so confused because I didn't know if it was like a man-made pond or a naturally made pond, and I didn't know how to like verbalize my question.
That was
I was
episode
like,
43, Talking Glazes with Josh Heim.
and I was like, did Jesus make the pond?
Oh my God.
uh,
I'm trying
yeah.
to see if I could find it in here, and then I wonder if I could play it. I found it.
It's way far in there.
No. I did timestamps with him.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't know if
maybe
you'll be
not
able to
though.
hear it because it's going to come through your headphones.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
Okay. Y'all will just have to check it out. It's in the back half of the episode 43. Or you can listen to episode 100 because it definitely is on that episode.
Oh, it's definitely on that one, yeah.
Those are, I mean, the collection of stuff in that episode is just
good.
So great.
I find it interesting that over the like last year, probably maybe year and a half, we've been a lot less structured, which I've liked, but you know, like at the very beginning when we started doing the podcast, it was like, what do you want to talk about? And like we'd kind of like think about it and there'd be like specific topics. And now we get most of our information from like listener questions or just like a thought that we had just randomly. And like, you know, we decided that we were going to do a recap 5 minutes before we started this episode.
Recording. We're more on the fly these days.
Yeah, like,
and I think that's just it's kind of like I almost feel sometimes it's like kind of irresponsible to just do it on the fly, but it's also like I hope it's entertaining enough because I feel like the closer we're getting to the current time, we're getting more into like people listen for entertainment versus the education, where we might have started it for the education and we were more planned with the topics because we actually, at least I was making a list of like topic ideas and
I was too.
we haven't talked about ways to sell at art shows, so let's talk about that. And I'm trying to like, keep it where we're not talking about the exact same thing that we've made an entire episode about before.
Yeah. I feel like we like ran out of topics essentially.
Yeah. I mean, not ran out, but I mean, there's always stuff to talk about. But maybe doing something a little more focused these days is harder because I feel like we've talked about a lot of topics already. Not that we would have the exact same perspective on something that we talked about 2 years ago about a topic, because I mean, we've definitely evolved in how we would feel about certain things that we've talked about over time as our businesses have grown, and then we just get more experience in certain areas, or we don't really have much experience in some area and maybe we get a little bit, or we talk to other people that have expertise. Yeah. And then we're kind of like pulling from their perspectives on that, which I think is what's beneficial for like interviewing people, is we get to ask them about topics that we are not experts in. Not that I feel like I'm super expert in many topics besides like selling an art shows, honestly. Or like organizing systems to keep my studio flow good. Like that's what I feel like I'm the most skilled to talk about.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's where like some of the questions that we get that are more sciencey, like I'm more likely to stray away from those because I'm like, that's what the For Flux Sake podcast like focuses on, and I feel like we're doing a disservice by like talking about a topic that we don't know a ton about.
Yeah, or we're not like as well versed. Like we don't have like masters of ceramics in that particular like topic.
Yeah, I mean, I know other people like have questions about that are kind of in similar situations where they're like home potters or they just are curious and they want to hear our take on it, but it's like you almost don't want to just do a podcast that's entertaining about that, because it's actually like impactful to know the real like answers for that stuff.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'd rather let others talk about that.
Right. Let me like guide you to this podcast that actually speaks on it in a way that makes sense to the humans. Yeah. I definitely, I mean, like, definitely feel like we've done an okay job at, I'm proud of us for when we don't know things, we're like, I don't fucking know. You know, like.
Yeah. And if it's like a business question too, we could be like, I haven't, this is how I would approach that situation.
Yeah.
Not having like done the situation 2 and 3 times in the past, where it's, this is how I would go through it. And then maybe I would ask this person or that person to help me get a more, a different perspective on it that maybe I don't know. So, I mean, I pretty much always ask you a lot of times, just in general, like, hey, what do you think about this? Or is this doable? Or what am I missing here? Or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you kind of need, if anything, I think that's kind of what we've helped tell people to do. Like, hey, find people that are out there that have a different experience that you could bounce ideas off of, or like learn from together, kind of, where you're kind of growing together. Not necessarily where they're like out of reach, where you're hoping that they can like share their knowledge with you. Like maybe not like a mentor necessarily, but maybe they're just like
a peer.
A peer, that you can.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be in the same space. Like maybe you don't talk to another like slipcaster if I'm a slipcaster about something. Maybe it's just like you appreciate their business advice, or their home studio setup or something like that. And you can ask them.
And we personally have like created that space with a group of our friends who we mention on the podcast frequently, like Josh and Rebecca and Isaac and
a lot of folks
like
that we
Andrew
talked
Linderman
to on the
podcast.
Like
yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much the scope of who we want to interview most, because we already have a rapport with them and have some ideas of what expertise they bring to the table.
Also, we need to interview Andrew because he went on that artist residency.
Yeah, California. For a long time. And then he just moved. We need like a moving studio update.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear about the residency and like what you should do with that stuff, because like who knows what you're supposed to fucking do with the residency. Like,
is it more for like growth artistically, or is it more about just getting in a different space for your business so that you're not stuck in doing the same thing?
He's definitely
chase
Andrew,
money.
You've definitely improved. Like I can see the growth.
I think not having, it's probably definitely good to have those breaks, whether it's like taking vacations or just completely doing something different, kind of like forcing yourself to do something different. Whether it's for the intention is for like fun, or if it's just like, I know this is not going to be good for my business for like a month or two because I'm paying to be there, but maybe it's beneficial. Like, what am I going to take away from it? Am I going to get more monetary value and like fulfillment personally to do this thing that's different for a month or two? Or I think it's cool that like Adam Field, I think he was having a couple different folks that would like come and shadow him for like 2 or 3 weeks. I think that's kind of cool too, where you can actually get in somebody's personal studio. And you pay to be there, instead of like, hey, I'm here to do work for you and you pay me. It's like, hey, I'm actually investing in myself to be here to learn something. And what benefit does that bring me, as well as like not technical skills that you're gaining, but also just like mental changes, and then how you approach your business or what you care about more.
Yeah.
What about kind of where we started? Like, where was your business at when we started in 2019, August of 2019?
Oh my God.
Versus now. Like, do you remember what you were doing in 2019?
In 2019, I was, let's see. In 2019, I had the shop. I had Five Lanes Pottery, the studio, and
Where were you at in there? Did you just get in there in 2018, 2019, or?
I moved. No, I had been there a year and some change. So I moved into the studio December 2017.
Yeah.
And I had just, let's see, the paint your own pottery was like getting bigger at that time. And I was doing like, if I remember correctly, I'm like looking back to see dates. Okay, that's October 30th. If I remember correctly, I was selling tons of mugs online and like pots and stuff online.
Through what? Just through your own website?
Just through the website and doing drops of like hundreds.
Oh, really?
Of like cups, yeah.
Unique mugs?
Yeah, and like
I don't remember your heavy online like that. You were doing like updates and stuff with the stickers and all that?
yeah, maybe it was that was in May of 2020. I lied to you.
Okay. I was gonna say I remember you doing the like unique cups and tumblers. I kind of remember the mugs too, now that you say that. They were all different though.
Okay, here we are. August of 2019. August 24th, 2019, I posted one of my favorite mugs of all time. I was at Leavenworth pretty much the whole summer. I remember that was like the time where I yeah, look, this is the coming soon post. We're going to start a podcast.
Show it on the.
It just says coming soon.
Oh, wow. What does the caption say?
It says, "Hey all, me and Ryan are working super hard on the podcast, Wheel Talk Podcast, and we will have our first episode out super soon. Keep a lookout for a trailer coming most likely tonight. Follow us at the linked account to keep tabs on us."
Were there any comments in there?
My wholesaler was like, "You're a badass." And yeah, that was the only one. It was one of my wholesalers.
Wow. That was in August, I'm guessing.
Yeah. That was in August.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like posting like mugs and stuff and just selling mugs online, and
Leavenworth was just about wrapped up at that time of year, I'm guessing. August,
September, October. It would be 2 more months.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that means that like somebody was watching my shop. I was probably stressed to the max. I think during that time I also had my flash bowl sale, the one that was like 200 bowls that like put me behind for like a year. And then I think I had switched clay by that time. But yeah, like I was quietly depressed and making like $70,000 a year and earning zero money. And I was out of debt by that time, but not really. Where were you in 2019?
I was looking back at my income and my goals and stuff. I can't believe we started Pot Swap in 2018. I thought it was 2019. It was 2018.
Oh my God, Pot Swap is coming up. We have to do
this. Is the 5th year.
Fuck.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22. This is the 5th year. Can you believe it's been that long?
No.
You're like, gonna be the 5th and final year. We had a good run. 5 years.
5 years.
I'm fucking out. So many people love it. Like makes my heart warm every time I see Pot Swap and everybody enjoying it so much.
But it sucks so much.
But based on where we started with Pot Swap, like we have grown much more since then in our
What was
processes.
our first Pot Swap was 100 people, and last year we had 850
or 720, I think.
720 or some shit like that. And people were like, I didn't get in.
You had to sign up within like a 24-hour span, 36-hour span.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I was looking back at my 2019. Yeah, I was mainly, man, I was setting a show expectations, selling at 10 shows. I sold at 24 that year. Killing it with the shows and getting into some new consignment shops. And I was not selling online much at all. It looks like I sold only $3,000 worth online in that year. So I was hitting the shows heavy. I was kind of getting my stride. I had been, that would have been my third year of selling. Started in 2016. 16, 17, 18. Fourth year. Technically 4 years, I guess. But yeah, I feel like I was hitting my stride with shows. I can't believe I've been selling at shows for that long.
Can I pause really quick?
Yeah.
This is not in August, but on May 28th in 2019, I got Lloyd and Floyd.
May of 2019?
Yeah.
2018. Okay.
Wow, that means he's 4 years old. Almost.
Yeah.
No, 3. Okay. Never mind. Continue. Okay.
3 years old.
Sales.
Yeah, so I was looking at the sales for the year. So it looks like I sold about $30,000 that year.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember, like, I wish I could go back and just think of like a typical week that time. And like, if I was
typical week was the exact fucking same as you do now. You have not changed.
Was it? Is it more?
3 years.
Is it more in a week now though?
Okay, you've gotten better. You've gotten faster for sure.
Yeah.
And your studio's gotten bigger, so you've been able to like house more things.
2019 was the first year I was having assistants too, it looks like, or one of the first years.
Yeah.
So I wasn't having them over that much. It looks like I'm getting close to about 100 hours for the whole year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've definitely had to get way more help since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 100 hours. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I've always been spread thin. We were probably pretty deep into having a home studio. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what sparked us. Like, we were probably just spending a lot of studio time doing the dual casts and spending a lot more time sharing lives.
You know what? We have not like told how we met in a long time, and maybe that should be part of like part of this episode, because like Deanna was like, how did you even meet Ryan? Because 2019 we actually met for the first time in 2018. 2019 started the podcast, so keep in mind that like we had only met once in person before we started the podcast, right? Maybe twice. Once.
When did we meet in 2018? Because I went to NCECA in Pittsburgh in 2018, but you were not there, I don't think.
I thought NCECA in Minneapolis was 2018.
2019. I was just looking at 2019 goals, and it was on there.
Okay. So anyway, we met for the first time in 2019.
March of 2019.
Yeah. So this was like 6 months after that.
Yeah. And we'd probably known each other since 2018. At least since 2018.
We knew each other
2017?
since like 2016.
Really?
Yeah. Because I started doing Instagram. I'm scrolling down while I'm not looking. But okay. So anyway, me and Ryan met through Instagram. Where
Yes.
he quite literally slid into my DMs. No, he didn't. He I would have lives all the time, right? Live videos, and I would make all these pinch pots that I was making in my basement. And I would just set my camera up and we'd chat. I would chat verbally and he would chat
through text.
Through his text, which always was like, what are you even doing? Like, how are you even replying while you're like chatting?
I don't think I was throwing. If it was 2016, 2017, I was likely not making a lot myself. Like that was before, because Rachel and I got married in 2015, and then we moved into an apartment in 2016 outside of Louisville, and I didn't even have a studio until 2017, I think. Okay. Until we got a house. So I was probably spending a lot of time at the apartment, like downtime, watching lives. And that's probably what sparked me doing a lot of engagement, because I wasn't making in the studio while you were making in the studio.
Right. It was 2017 for sure. So in February 2017, I got those 2 little kittens that then ended up being given away. Yeah, I was making those. Man, it had to have been like late 2016, early 2017.
I just feel like it wasn't 2016 because that was the first year I would start selling.
We did it. We started it when Instagram started doing lives.
Okay. Is that what you're Googling?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess they started mid 2017.
November 2016.
Really? Wow. What about dual lives, though? When did they start dual lives?
Well, we didn't do dual lives for years.
I know, but when did they start them? I feel like we started doing them shortly after they added it.
November 21st, 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we've known each other for a long time, like via the interwebs. And then Ryan was like, hey, do you want to do a trade? And I was like, sure. And he still has the mug that I traded him. Do I still have the piece that he gave me? Probably not.
I thought you were about to say, and he still owes me a piece.
No, I'm pretty positive. I don't know where the piece that you gave me is. I might still have it.
Was it like a tea bowl or something?
Oh, you know what? I do have it. It's a little cup. Did I break it?
Little cup.
It's like it's a nice little cup, teacup. But yeah, I sent him a cup. It's completely not vitrified. It's just like ugly brown.
It sits on my it's in my cubby shelves.
Yep, it's in his cubby shelves. And
So we traded. And then we just kept chatting, doing the lives, and probably just like engaging with posts and stuff like that.
Yep. And at that time, I had way more followers than Ryan. I just want everybody to know this. I had 3,000 followers in 2017, and Ryan had like 1,500. And then he was like, I'm going to be really good at pottery and Instagram, and then fucking skyrocketed past me. But it took him, I had got to like 4,000, but I like stalled out at like 4K. And then he like skyrocketed past me. And then we met at Sika for the first time and hung out with Rachel. And then after that, we were like, we've been doing all these lives together for such a long time. We should just do a fucking podcast. And so we did.
And so we did.
And now you're listening to it in probably the most boring episode of the year.
Give you some context. Starting in 2018, I was at 2,000 followers.
Yeah, see? 2,000 followers. And I hit 3,000 followers on March 20th, 2017. So
that was back when everybody thought they had to do a giveaway every time they hit a milestone.
that is true. Did I do a giveaway? No.
Not you. Not you.
Oh, good Lord. All these sets. That plate's cool. My stuff was so bad back then.
I don't even remember what I was making back then. Like, I was making stuff that was, good enough to make sure I could feel confident going to shops and saying, "Hey, I've got this stuff."
Yeah.
I'd love to partner and do consignment, or I wasn't even getting into wholesale at that point. I don't think wholesale was kind of in my repertoire yet. I wasn't consistent enough in my work, but I was confident enough to be like, "Hey, can I loan you this stuff and you give me, 60% when it sells?"
When it sells?
If it sells. Man, I can't believe there's some. I was just doing some of my inventory kind of things with one of my shops, Micah 12th and Vine, that's in Cincinnati, and they have literally never. They still, over time, I've been like, "Hey, can I take some of those older pieces back?" And they're like, "No, we'll keep them here." And like they sell them every now and then. It takes a long time, but there's there's one lone piece that is still in the shop that I gave them in 2017, and I'm like, it's like $16. I'm like, sell this thing or give it to me so I could smash it or something. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, how many pieces of mine do they have? Like, what would I get if I literally was like, hey, we're done with this partnership. Give me all my work back. Like, I would have like 200 pieces.
Oh my goodness.
And it would just be like a timeline of the oldest pieces. Like, they literally have pieces from 2017, 2018. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know. I have friends that have pieces of mine, and I like look in their cupboard and I'm like, that piece should be dead. Like that cup should be dead in the water right now.
Yes.
Oh, man, you have posted a lot here. Where am I at? Oh my God, you post way too much.
I was posting like 5 days a week.
Jeez, fuck.
What were you doing? Were you scrolling all the way back?
Yes, I'm scrolling all the way back. I want to see what kind of pieces you were making in 2016.
Oh my gosh. I've posted almost 1,900 times.
My internet should be better than this. What do you think? What do you think is like the most memorable piece that you've made in the last like 3 years or since we kind of like started being friends?
Individual piece of work?
Yeah. For you. It could just be a story or whatever.
Man, it's hard to remember individual pieces, but I would say definitely some of the sgraffito work. Once I started getting certain colors like dialed in,
Yeah.
where it's like I don't even feel that way about the mugs necessarily right now, because the mugs are mugs. I don't know. I feel better about the oil bottles, for instance. Like when I was doing the speckled clay with the black slip and then the white glaze, like that was just the right trifecta, and it's got the faceted feet on it. Like that is like something that goes off the shelf almost immediately when I have it at a show or I have it online. I think that validation from customers like helps me feel more proud of it too.
Yeah.
I'm somebody that definitely has to get that feedback of, hey, somebody else is enjoying this, like they're validating that it's really as good as I think it is.
Right.
Because I'm really proud of it, but the only way that I keep going forward is if other people think it's good and they're willing to buy it. Hopefully at the price that I'm setting, and they don't complain about it and they're like, this is amazing. Like, I have to have this. I think that like Venn diagram of me making something that I enjoy and like putting the right amount of attention and detail to it to being something that a customer sees and they're like, that is unique. I want that.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the third part of the Venn diagram is, but the price, I don't know. The price that I'm setting based on the work that I put in and the value that I set to it, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm like scrolling back. I'm in July of 2017. Your colors and your glazing has gotten so much better. Like,
Can you
wow,
show
wow,
me
wow.
something from then?
No, not yet. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one to show.
That's just what about the mug though? The mug body? The mug body's not terrible. The handles.
No, the bug body's not terrible, but the glazing is horrid.
It's also choosing what to share and what not to share as
And you
well.
had so much chattering stuff back in the day. Remember, you would chatter almost everything.
Yeah. I would chatter a lot. I still like the chattering look some. I just don't do it anymore.
Oh, there's a Marbs picture.
Yeah, little Marbs.
Little Marbs.
I remember the feet of some of those pieces back in the day were so like wide.
Yep.
And I was doing slip back then. I think that was a picture with slip on it.
Yep, you're
And
doing a
I
lot of
I
slip.
haven't done slip in a long time.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Your display has basically stayed the same through all the years.
Yeah.
Um,
I've simplified it, I think.
I think so.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I always mention my display and you're like, "No, you don't need to change your display. Your display works."
I agree. I still agree with that. I agree with what I said.
Like
I
I'm
like
never going to go the pro panel route. Like I think that's just too much. And then I'm not going to go the like heavy duty like boxes and pedestal kind of things because that's just not my vibe.
like uh, you make $6,000 at some shows. Like, why the fuck would you change what you're doing? Like, it works. Like, I make $300 at shows. I need to change what I'm doing.
I don't think I've actually seen you at a show besides the backyard show. I just wonder what your vibe is when you're like selling.
My vibe is I'm in pain. I'm smiling.
I'm
Nice to
in
see
pain.
you. Um, nice to see you. And then when they leave, I frown.
Oh my gosh.
No, I'm pretty good at shows. I'm not terrible. I could be better for sure. But
Yeah.
definitely. June 10th, 2015, still doing the glaze drips like with the
The glass. That's
the
how old it is,
glass.
man. That is still doing it.
Probably the same fucking kiln.
I don't
Uh,
It's not the same kiln. That is not the same kiln. That
I
was a
feel like
free kiln that I got after college.
the like the transition of my pieces from the very beginning to now, or not even till now, but like I feel like my peak moment was probably 2020 when I was selling all those pieces online, like the different glaze combinations, you know.
Yeah.
Um
You just
uh
mean the pieces that you were most proud of or your peak selling, like how much you were selling?
Peak selling, but peak like quality, I would say.
Oh.
Peak quality for sure. Um
Why was
as
the
far as
quality
like
higher at that point?
glazes. The glazes were better.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, like my glazes are fine now, but I'm just doing like single dips. I'm not really caring about, doing double dips and like dripping and
And
stuff.
was it better because you had just used them so much that you
Mm-hmm.
know how to layer them and how to get certain effects?
Yeah. And there's like nice blues, nice greens, nice browns. Like, yes, fuck yeah. Like iridescent. Like, I had so many color combinations that there was, and like the pinky red that I had, like the June Perry red, and It was just like, they were just like, I had honed in on glazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the mug body, simple, fine, whatever. But I'd honed in on glazing, and then I left.
How do you think that if you got back to that glazing, let's just say you jump back into that with the clay body you had, like, do you think the glazing would be as impactful on the clay body that you use now with the speckles?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Oh, yeah.
it would?
They would be so fucking good.
I mean, some of the glazes on my speckle clay just, to me, look more interesting.
Yeah.
Than even just a simple black glaze with like
I
those
know.
little specks like coming through. It's like
so
it's like a
good.
little surprise.
Yeah. I hated speckled clay for the longest time because I felt like it was so kitschy. It's like all
But
like
your speckled clay is different though. It's not like a tan speckled like mine.
no, it's because it's just it's Iceman with speckles.
But I feel like you don't see a ton of white with specks.
Yeah.
White clay
Maybe.
with specks.
Well, you do if it's like a straight-sided white pot, glazed white.
Well, yeah, because the glaze is white, but the clay
Yeah.
body, yeah.
Right. But like I do feel like that was like my peak. That was my peak for like how proud I was and like how excited I was pulling pots out of kilns and stuff.
Huh.
What
if you had those glaze combos on your shitty cups now?
Sound like fucking rock stars. I wouldn't be able to keep them on the shelves, man.
What's stopping you from getting to that point?
Well, I have a lot of full buckets of glaze. Yeah, once these glazes go, I will start to replace them with the old glazes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that's because you got them from Rebecca?
Rebecca, yeah.
So you're on zero expense.
Zero expense.
Low expense. Zero expense.
Yeah. Zero. Yeah, I didn't pay her for them. They were all like mystery glazes. And the only glaze that I've paid for is the white one that I just replaced.
Are there any good combos with them? What if you just layered, like, comboed them?
There's like one good combo that I've seen, but the other, they don't run on top of each other really well. So they're kind of choppy.
I mean, if they're stable, what if you completely dipped two of them? Like,
I don't know.
I'm not trying to give you more work. I'm just saying, would you find a gem in there?
I don't know.
Would not be able to sit on the shelf,
Maybe we'll see. But, yeah, I just like think about like the very beginning of my work and like what I wanted it to be and the shapes and like the way that everything was. And now like it's completely different,
Mm-hmm.
And like how much we both have grown in the last like 6 years, just as far as, but yeah, because we met in 2016, 2017. So 5 years. Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Just like the amount that we've both grown is just like so crazy. I was just talking to another friend about this too. Like she sells jewelry and you remember when I had to do that show for 10 days out in the cold on Christmas Eve? Like
10 days?
10 days in the cold. And it was me and Twyla, my friend Twyla. And like I met her at that show. We were booth mates and we had to share this tiny ass booth. And neither of us knew what she's doing. And now she's like making $50,000 in a month and doing like kicking ass. And like I was talking to her the other day about how we've both grown so much, how we didn't know anything back then, Do
you think you kind of have to go through those individual experiences that like, or do you think there's like moments that like accelerate you, or is it, I don't know. I'm trying to like, I can't think of individual moments. I think it's just like a snowball. It just builds on itself.
Yeah.
And you like change the bar of what you can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep pushing that bar further and further.
Yeah. I think for you, it's that.
For me, it's that. Yeah.
For me, it's like, oh shit, we got to do this now. For me, it's like almost always been survival, And that's like the difference between you and me. I think specifically is that it's always been like, how do I find money? As versus you has always been like, yeah, money. Like, let's get it. You
I don't
know?
know. I feel like, I mean, I guess I get more. I guess I'm in a spot that I can risk the options for like strategizing what
Mm-hmm.
works and what doesn't. But I feel like I don't take that big of risks that
I don't think
really
you do.
that really are like big strategy movements
I
that
think that
like
I take
really
more risks
define
than
it.
you. I think that I take more risks than you, and the reason is because something isn't working, and I'm like, I gotta get, like, something has to fucking work, you know?
Yeah. And I don't, I mean, I would say I probably kind of double down on what works.
Yeah.
Like shows, when I know shows are working, I like get excited about it and it like fuels me to want to apply for more shows
Right.
and like come back to the same show the next year and do better than I did last year. You like look back at my stats from the previous year and see what sold there. Like, okay, mugs killed it last year, so I need to bring some mugs. But like
Yeah.
those people that come back, they've already got a mug, so like maybe I want to bring some other items that can catch their eye. So I don't know. I was thinking back to that, like, are the moments like building, are the different shows you do that are shitty, or you
Yeah.
know, what is pushing your work forward as well as your business forward? Like, are they building blocks that, a few blocks fall out, so you need to put other ones in there to like support it and like go with things that work, and that helps you take more chances when you can? Or is it like, I don't know. I don't even know where my thoughts going here, but Lloyd. Or is it completely personality where it's like some people are just go with it
Yeah.
and you're living it like weeks at a time. I don't feel like I'm living like months at a time, but I'm like planning out my year sort of with shows. And then I
Yeah.
just work harder or slower based on what I need to do.
Yeah. I feel like the last like 6 years for me, 8 years, 10 years, whatever, for me have totally been like up, down, up, all the way down, up, all the way up, down, 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 down. like,
What
like
makes it go down? Is it,
I think it's just like life stuff, like me moving out here.
oh,
As
you
far
don't
as
mean the
like,
business goes down. You just mean you're like the emotional part
no,
is what you're talking about, ups and
I
downs.
think the business, like, well, it dropped off when I came here, obviously, because I didn't do anything. But then it's just like, you have uh like when the store was happening, it was like it's great during Christmas, and then it's like shit during January, and then it's you're just like up and up and down and down and up and up and down and down and up. You're just like trying to like have some sort of steady thing, and now that I like kind of look back at it where I am now, I'm like, ugh, you always say like, had I known. Like, I don't know if I would have gone through all that had I known, but then I wouldn't be where I am now. So it's like, kind of have to go through all that, which really sucks. And
Mm-hmm.
I hate that you like have to go through like the shitty part to get to the part where you're like, now I know what the fuck I'm doing.
But how enjoyable would it be if it was always just kind of like even keeled and you always strayed maybe like 5% off that even keel at a time?
Yeah.
Would that be more enjoyable than having the average is still in the middle, but it's because you have really high highs and really low
Really
lows
low
so that
lows.
they average in the middle?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had even keel, so I can't answer that question.
Yeah. Or it's like what incentivizes you, like the really high highs would be, or like a really high bump would be like a really good show or like really
Yeah.
good restock. And then it's kind of like tapering as like the month goes on,
Yeah.
as that money gets spent. And then
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh,
it's
gotta go
dipping
again.
down where it's like, okay, I didn't, make enough to keep it back above.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I sometimes wonder like what would be different if I had, let's say, quit my job like a year ago or 2 years ago. Like,
Yeah.
where would I be realistically if I didn't have my full-time job?
Mhm.
I mean, I probably would have been fine, but would I think I
You would have
worry
been
too much
fine. I
about the
don't think.
risk of the like mental shift.
Yeah.
Like, I think that worry that when I do jump ship from the full-time job, I'm not really going to enjoy the pottery as much.
Mhm.
And I think that looming kind of feeling is what keeps me in the comfort zone. Even though it's like super stressful,
Yeah.
it's like it's still
Are you stressed though? Like, are you? What stresses you about it?
about doing full-time.
No, 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 no. Like, are you stressed now, like doing full time work and then pottery? Does that stress you out, or is it just like
I'm
normal for you now?
I would say I'm more stressed about the having so many commitments
Mm.
that it takes time away from things that I want to be doing, which is I really love just spending 3 hours in the studio making
Yeah.
to whether it's getting prepared because I don't want to be in a situation where let's say a wholesaler reaches out to me and they're like, "Hey, can I get this order for, this $400 order?" I would like to be able to fulfill that and not have to say, "No, I can't handle that."
Yeah.
I would like to be in a position where I'm stocked up enough for shows. I've got enough. I'm feeling less worried about online nowadays because I think the scarcity online can help drive people to have interest in it because I've
Yeah.
gone through the enough restocks and spending time photographing that's like, do I have to do that as hard as I've done in the past? And I've just learned to like pull it back a little bit, like maybe
Yeah.
restock 15 pieces instead of like 35. Like, people
Yeah.
aren't going to be rushing to get it, so don't kill yourself. Um, I don't know. I think the commitments, it's a lot of commitments that take time away from studio time. Um, but if I didn't have some of those, I mean, obviously some of them are like relationship related. Like I have to do things for my wife in the house and I have to care about things that keep our house in a good state and keep my car driving with AC and like things that she needs me for and I need to do and have some kind of like importance in my life
Mhm.
that I can't just do that. Like I'm not on my own here, like running the business and finances and like if everything was solo and it was just me, I could make those decisions to like
Right.
disregard the house things or you know put off doing this or doing that.
Yeah.
But like what would that do to the relationship if I were to not have those? I say commitments, but like that is something that takes time. It is a commitment. I mean,
Yeah.
so and then like, I've taken some steps like I've scaled back teaching at Baker Hunt. Like that
Yeah.
was a big commitment drop
Yeah.
that now I only commit to 3 days every 8 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Like that's a big difference. I mean, that's 6 hours every 8 weeks versus, you know, 3 hours every week for 8 weeks. Like that's a
Yeah.
lot. So the money wasn't a big enough incentive for me. Plus, I don't mind like freeing up, like let other people teach if they want to teach. It just I didn't enjoy it as much. Um, so I don't know. And then like Clay Alliance stuff, but I feel like I've got myself in there and I'm invested so much to the organization that I don't know. I can't step back from it. Like
Yeah.
I can draw boundaries about how much
Mhm.
time, but it's more personal boundaries of like how much time do I want to invest. I know I
Right.
could drown hours into this, but who's going to notice for one? Am I going to get like not recognition, but like that's also with the notice. Like, do people appreciate it, or am I doing this to like fulfill my own wants of getting something done to like better the organization?
Yeah.
So I think some of those are the pull the give and take of
Yeah.
studio time is what's going to lose out there. But and then like, doing a ton of shows takes time away from making, but doing the shows helps fund me to want to make. I mean, the only other things I could cut out would be like consignment shops. Like I could cut down that significantly, and that would probably be less work that would be out that I get 60% of.
Yeah.
And that would leave me enough work that I could sell at shows.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be the next
step.
That would be the next step, maybe.
Yeah.
That I could play around with the numbers. Because I've only ever like taken myself out of maybe like 2 shops before, maybe 3. But yeah, I mean, some of that's like I don't mind as long as it's low effort, low maintenance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I've always diversified. I probably don't have to, because sometimes if you focus on like 2 or 3 things really well, it's more beneficial, and you're gonna I don't want to just focus on the money, but you're gonna be more efficient at those 2 or 3 things really well than spreading yourself to like 6 different things that make you money, and you just like half-ass 5 things or 6 things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you feel like you had to Speaking of diversify, like, did you feel like you were in different ponds a little bit?
When?
Back in, I don't know, 2019, like, did that shift over time for you with where you wanted to make your money?
I felt like when I started the shop, I thought that I was going to make most of my money from teaching classes. And then I quickly found out that that was not what I wanted the money to be from, just because like I don't mind teaching. It was a lot though mentally for me, and it was when I started teaching classes, I had never taught classes before. And so there was a big learning curve, huge learning curve. And by the end of it, I was like, I don't fucking care what you guys do.
Yeah.
Like I was like so burned out on like, obviously there were some people that came through and you're like, yes, you're the perfect student. But like a lot of people, you're like, you know what? If you don't want to listen, fine. I'm not going to help you. Like,
yeah, I think the amount of relationship building you have to do with classes, besides just like knowing what the hell you're talking about,
yeah,
is like the amount that's going to have a lot of highs and lows too.
right. And
You're
I
just
think
dealing with
that,
extra humans and perspectives and
yeah. And I
discussion.
think that if I was doing it now, like if I taught a class now, it'd be fucking cake for me, you know?
Because you'd set expectations, or
Because I just know how to
students.
do it now,
Oh, okay.
and I care a little bit more, but so I was doing the classes, right? And then I was like, man, I'd really like to make money doing wholesale and production. And then the paint your own pottery kind of popped off, and yeah, I was doing like 4 different jobs as one human, and it was really fucking hard, and like I didn't have time to do anything. I would go home. I mean, like we've talked about my schedule, but like, I would be like glazing until like 3 a.m., like walk over to 7-Eleven and get a fucking Red Bull at 2 in the morning so that I could stay up, just so that I could fucking like glaze 100 pieces and then load the kilns. I was like, the fact that I was firing probably once a day, 2 kilns a day, flipping them. Like when I would unload them, I'd load it back up. Like absolutely ridiculous. like,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. And like, I just, it's weird because you're like free to do whatever you want, but you're like trapped at the same time. It's like it's kind of like, it's kind of like the Truman Show, where you're like you feel like you're good, but you can't actually leave. So I think that, I think that definitely it's like pulling you and like you completely disregard your like self-health, your self like health and like
Yeah.
I was telling my brother lived in Alaska for the entire time that I lived in Washington. It costs $100 to fly to Alaska from Washington. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I never once went to Alaska. And I'm like, why? Like, why?
Did
Why
you
didn't
always
I
put
just
it
go?
like, I'll go in 6 months or I'll go next year?
Yeah, it was just like, oh, I'll go eventually, and like, why didn't I just like take a weekend, and just go?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, yeah, definitely you just kind of like put off everything that,
Yeah.
and so now I'm like on the flip side where I'm just like, now I take way too much time to myself and I'm not working enough. But like, but yeah, definitely, it definitely spreads you pretty thin. So, and that's the fear.
How is your body physically holding up during that period versus now?
Oh, I'm so much healthier now. Not even like I was eating the same types of food, except for the Red Bull. I was eating the
Mm-hmm.
same types of food. I've always ate pretty healthy.
So you were always making your own food and all that,
Yeah, like I would pretty much make most of my own food because I had a little kitchen closet in the back,
right?
and you know, um, but I think like I was so stressed and so tired that I was so sore all the time that I just couldn't. I was in pain all the time, you know? And I didn't know how much pain I was in until I came here. And I was like, holy shit.
Because you basically had a reset of not working for
Yeah.
a period of
Yeah. And
what,
like,
2 or 3 months, or was it?
yeah. And like, no, I didn't work for like a week or something, but even working for Rebecca and like the stress literally leaving my body and all that
But
stuff just,
over time you were able to like leave at the end of a day and not have to work
yeah.
for basically 12 hours or 16 hours.
Exactly. And like it's just like my whole body just I mean now, yeah, I like, wake up. But like I wake up in the morning and I'm awake now. It's taken almost 2 years to get to that though. Like to wake up and be like, I didn't have to wake up with an alarm. That's great. And as opposed to like waking up and being like, holy shit, my whole body hurts. Like I don't even want to
Let's
get
do it
up.
again today.
Yeah. And like my ankle, it's been flaring up a little bit now, just because of the humidity in the air, but my ankle was like always in pain when I was, in Washington, and there was no help. There was no helping it. So yeah, and I mean, like, there's been a few things that I've cut out of my diet that, like, I would drink a lot of those like whey protein shakes. And I thought that they were like helping me. They were destroying me because I'm intolerant to whey.
Hmm.
And so, and I found that out here. Um, and I've never been like a big bread eater or anything like that, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like the hours just kill you and um yeah, but I do miss the people, you know? Like I'm kind of like growing that here at the
The
201.
individuals or like
Yeah.
the just on consistent interaction with people in general.
Yeah, like when Bridget and Andrew would call and be like, "Hey, we're getting pho," and everybody would come over to my house and we'd walk over to the Mexican grocery store and get squirt, like to drink, and like we'd all eat pho at the table and like, yeah, I miss that like community that we had, you know. But I'm kind of like getting that here. It's just, you know,
You
that
have to work harder for that,
yeah.
right?
I recently was talking to somebody who was like, I can't be It was somebody I was considering dating. He was like, I can't be in a relationship because I like need to focus on my job and my work and all that stuff. And I was like, hey, I've been in that situation where I thought that I needed to focus on my job and my work. And he was like, well, now looking back, do you think you could have done it? And I was like, absolutely. Like the people in
Could
my
have
life,
done it. Could have done
like
what?
could have had like a relationship of some sort,
Oh, I got you.
like back when I was like working 90 hours. And I was like, absolutely. Like I still had a relationship with my best friend, with Bridget, like with, all these people. And I still maintained those friendships. And they were the only things that actually kept me alive, you know? So
Sometimes you think those are like time sucks, or like you just look at them on the whole and you're like, this is a distraction from bigger things that I could be doing, but you don't realize the like benefit.
yeah.
Even if it's like little spurts of benefit throughout a
Hmm.
day or throughout a week and then a year. It's like doing this once a week
Yeah.
for literally 3 years is like, it's not a distraction anymore.
No, it's not a
It might have been a
distraction. It's
distraction at some points where it's like, oh, I wish
yeah.
I had 2 more hours in the studio. But it's like, no, this is,
This is essential to our friendship.
yeah,
Like
for
this,
like you and I, as well as I'm dedicating time away from the studio to just
yeah.
talk at length about something,
Yeah.
as well as actually thinking about topics that maybe I don't think about.
Right. And
Because I
I
feel like
think,
I'm very like, I think about a lot of heavy things,
hmm
like listening to podcasts or whatever. And I'm like, I kind of want to talk about these things, but like if I got in a real situation with somebody, like I wouldn't want to talk about certain things because I'm
right.
like, I don't know them well enough to know that they're not going to like hate me for something about some perspective on a certain
Right.
thing. Like I can't be just honest.
Candid. Yeah. And I mean, like, we have a lot of conversation before and after we record, you know,
Yeah.
that's when all the tea gets spilled. But, but like, yeah, no, I think especially, honestly, mostly for you, it's been beneficial just because you work at home, you're a workaholic in your studio.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, like, I was like that too, and I definitely needed that, but I've always had like this core group of small town friends that I saw every
Yes.
day. And
Yeah.
you don't see that, So it's really
Yeah.
helpful for you to have that like time. And I've seen that
Yeah.
over time.
And I mean, I mostly have like acquaintances.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of deep friendships with
Yeah.
people. So, having something consistent
Yeah.
is
Has
like
been good.
good. It's probably good for the business too. I hate to always relate back to the business, but like it's probably good for the business as well
Mhm.
as not like probably my body, like not straining my body for another two
Mhm.
hours in the studio
Yeah.
is probably, I mean, I'm still sitting
Instead just
down for
having
2
really
hours.
bad posture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. That's probably been the most beneficial thing about the podcast. And I know that like a ton of people are always like, "Oh, I've learned so much from like the podcast," and they like we get so many great reviews, and I don't know if people realize that it's not we're not doing this for for other people.
I
we're
mean, I want to make sure it's educational as well as entertaining.
Yes,
I don't have to
yes,
force the entertainment. I know that through the educational and keeping it on track to a point,
yeah,
that the entertainment will come naturally.
right. But what I'm saying is like it's not for every it first priority is it's for us, and second priority it's for people.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we cared about the educational part more, we would edit the podcasts. We would narrow
make it a
them down.
job.
We would
Yeah,
cut out the fluff parts,
yeah,
and the episodes would be down to like an hour and 15 minutes instead of 2 hours.
right.
But it's like, hey, what are we doing this for? Are we doing this for us?
Yeah, we're doing it for us.
Like, yeah, like I don't. Becca doesn't even want to listen to the podcast after. It's like she'll barely listen to it. Period. So
Yep.
she probably
I
doesn't
listened
listen
to
to it
the
past when we talk, and she's like, I don't even know what we talked about. What did we talk about?
Yeah, no, I listened to the first like 3 minutes and the last 2 minutes. That's it.
Yeah,
Unless I need to cut something out like weirdly.
yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like there's gonna like 10 years down the road, somebody's gonna dig up these podcasts and be like, they said this in this podcast.
We're gonna get so hardcore canceled. We already have. We've got so many people that have blocked us for stupid reasons we don't even know about.
I don't feel like I'm very blockable. I feel like I'm very family friendly.
You are very family friendly, but just because you're associated with me, you get blocked.
I mean, I'm sure there's perspectives that some people would not like, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain things that I don't like. I'm not here to talk about X, Y, and Z. Like, my
Yeah.
expertise is in pottery and business and like things I care about. Like, why do I want to talk about politics or other things that
Right.
like I don't understand why some people share that kind of stuff. It's like, are you sharing it for yourself? Are you sharing it for the reaction? Are you sharing
Right.
it to educate? Like, some of those topics, I'm like, I don't like intentionally stay away because it's controversial. It's just like, what do you hope to get out of sharing about
Yeah. Yeah.
certain things? Are you hoping to get out of it, or are you just posting because you want to
Yeah.
and you just feel strongly about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we never really talk about that on here, but like, there are things that I just stay away from posting because, like, honestly,
It's
I don't
your
want to deal with the random comments from strangers where it's like they're gonna affect my day and my mood
yeah.
for something that I didn't even really have that big of a like thing in. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that I would say, I mean, obviously both of us are very privileged individuals. Um on the flip side, we provide a podcast about a particular topic, and I think that it has been a success in the sense that we have stayed to that topic. Um you know, uh we we're very true to like a pottery podcast. And it's something that you can always count on not having the shitty like news splurted in your face,
Yeah.
and like you can count on the fact that if you listen to an episode, it won't be about all the things that you're hearing every day in the world. It's gonna be about fucking Kiln.
Yeah,
Like,
or it's gonna be more of like an escape, or
yeah. And I
it's not
think
gonna
that
be something
that's
that you
I think that
stumble
that
upon
is
that's gonna be like, oh well, this put me in a bad mood, or
right.
I was
Yeah.
trying to get away from thinking about this thing that's everywhere else.
Yeah, and I think that that is just as important as spreading information about particular subjects. Having an escape is just as important as the opposite. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, for sure.
All right. Question.
I'm
Who
ready.
was
Oh, who's our favorite interviewer?
favorite interviewees?
Interviewees. Hands down for me, it's got to be Aletha.
Aletha?
Aletha was one of my fucking favorites.
I thought you were gonna say either Heidi or Aletha.
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah,
sure which
they're
one.
both up there. Both up there.
Her fucking McDonald's headset, like
Oh my God. Yes.
most people did not see that because they did not watch the YouTube, but there was probably a screenshot of it.
Aletha looked like she was straight out of a drive-through McDonald's. Like she had the microphone like sticking out. It was glorious. It was glorious. Yeah, definitely, definitely that has to be my favorite episode of all time is Aletha for sure.
Aletha.
And then Heidi might be second. And
We need to have more. And the thing is, I never actually talked to Aletha before that. Like, we just had this internet relationship, like you and
yeah,
I. It was like a you and I relationship over
yeah,
time, where you don't talk one on one. Well, like we've never done like a dual cast with Aletha or anything, so
yeah.
like I've never actually talked to her, but I know enough of her
Right.
personality just from following her that it's like this is gonna be a good time, you know?
Yeah. Oh God, that was so good. So good. And then Heidi, just because Heidi is maybe one of my most favorite humans of all time. And her voice and the way she speaks might just be my favorite. Like that's what makes me love her the most. And that's why I loved the Boldly podcast so much when she did it, is because she's a very slow and methodical talker, and a lot of people don't really understand that. And that is literally what makes her a gem. It's just like the way she pauses. I can't get over
man,
it.
I was
She's
trying to
so
download an
wonderful.
old Boldly. Like those archives are gone.
Oh no.
Like
Oh,
they're not a thing anymore. They're not. The hosting went away or something. I don't know.
that's a bummer. Okay,
Because I was trying to listen to an old one and it was gone.
it was
I was
good.
on it back in the day, a long time ago.
Yeah. Um, did they interview you?
Yeah,
I don't remember that.
it's a long time ago.
Huh.
I was on that one. I was on Clay is a Four-Letter Word in person with Ryan
I was
in
on Clay's a
California.
four-letter word with Ryan.
I did a small business one with Chandler Lyles that's down in Nashville. I did Maker's Playbook. We did not Boldly. We did Potter's Cast together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably one other one maybe, but yeah.
Okay, who was your favorite interviewee?
All right, I couldn't do just one.
That's fine. I did too.
All right, we'll do two. All right, so I think the first one, I'm not even gonna say Leanne. I was gonna say Leanne, but I'm not gonna say Leanne.
That was a good one.
It was good. I'm gonna say Tara and Matt.
Oh yeah, that was great.
I think just and I need to listen back to it, but there were a few moments in there where it's like you're on this like emotional roller coaster a little
Yeah.
bit when you're talking about like family expectations and moving across country and like doing it together and like your business progression and stuff like that. Like I'm thinking about it right now, and it's like those moments I think are what set those apart for me.
Yeah.
With those discussions,
I
that
do feel like
like us having access to people in that
Oh yeah.
comfortability,
Yeah.
that we can share that
Yeah.
together. I think
I do
that's
feel
what makes it special for me.
Yeah, and after that interview, I felt like we had such like a connection to them.
Mhm.
Like I felt so much more comfortable like commenting, you know, and like I'll be like, Matt, what are you doing? You're sharing stories. What the fuck? Like, like I can like jab him a little bit, Um, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your second?
And then my other one was Chris Burch.
Oh, Chris's was good.
Yeah. And it goes to a similar thing, like the emotional parts, and like he was appreciative of us, and like
Yeah.
just listening to his story just puts you on this perspective of seeing why somebody does what they do.
Yeah.
And they're just so connected with the customers and these students, and just seeing somebody really that has that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
With the people that they engage with is like, and just the human part of it too, of just how he carries himself and how he interacts with people. Like, and I listened to this when he was on the Potter's Cast, but like I think like being present with people.
Yeah.
In actually trying to, I don't remember what like leaving. I want to say like leaving it better than you came or something, but like wanting to have this moment with somebody.
Yeah.
So that you've got this appreciation for who they are to you, and just like letting them know that, I think is really like special to hear that from somebody.
Yeah. You're such a sucker. Um, no, I agree. Those were really good.
And those were Tara and Matt was number 52, episode 52.
Okay.
And then Chris Burch was number 116.
116. Yeah, Aletha and Heidi have been more recently. Well, Aletha was recently, and then Heidi was probably like down a ways.
Oh, I can share the number. Aletha was 147.
Mm-hmm.
Man, coming up with these titles for these episodes are tough. Heidi Fehrenbacher.
Oh,
91 with Heidi Fehrenbacher. Things to be happy about.
Yeah.
91.
Okay, well, these were also a few good ones. that we should mention because I was like looking at our top episodes of all time. First of all, before we go to that, I was gonna say one of my favorite moments of both of us having a moment together was when we had that dinner with all of the Potters, with Andrew and Rebecca and Josh and
Doug McIndoe.
Doug and you and me. That was great.
Was it like that in the moment, or is it retrospecting on it because it was right before the pandemic?
No, I think it was in the moment. It was great.
Okay.
It could have been any time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our top episodes of all time, ironically, and I guess, Motivation as a Maker is our very first episode.
I think it's just because people go back to the first episode and they just start.
Obviously.
Which sounds like a horrible spot for them to start, but...
yeah. And it's 2024 downloads. Isaac, you are still winning.
Isaac, episode 108.
108.
That was on my top episodes too.
Yeah, Isaac's was a great episode too.
He was in third.
That was 1,811 downloads that we've had. Don't Waste Your Talents with Chris Burch. That's 116, 1723. And then Amy's was really good too. Amy Brummond with Pines End Pottery, Hand Building and Rainbows. And that was 1640. And then Plagiarism versus Inspiration was 1570. So
I think that was just a play on words that got people engaged with that one.
Yeah, Amy Brummond's is 119, and then Plagiarism is 98. So those are our top 5.
People obviously like the ones where we interview people.
Obviously.
Or they just share it with their audience, and that's why we get more. But
yeah.
See, I would have thought like Leanne's or Kurt's would be one of the top ones. But
I think it still is. I'm looking at the all episodes.
Just because they have like some of the biggest audiences, but
yeah.
But that was also pretty early days of the podcast. So,
So Liz Cohen is number 6. That's 140, episode 140, and that's 1543.
Yeah, Liz.
Yeah, and then Link.
Oh my gosh! Did you realize we talked with Aletha for almost 3 hours?
I know, it was the longest. Oh my god,
that's our long. I think that was our longest episode.
Yeah.
2 hours and 57 minutes. Holy shit!
But we had so many conversations about like food and shit. Like, how could we not?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Leanne's is at like 1350. Hammerly's is right up there at 1400. So yeah, Don't Be Like Becca is like number 7.
Was that show edition?
Yeah, show edition.
That was great.
Which episode was Aletha's? 140 something?
147. 147.
Oh, there it is.
1087 is what it says here.
No, it's at 860 downloads.
It says download. Are you looking over the last X number of days or something?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I like the interviews. I think we've been a little more intentional about it the last few months of like trying to get some people in the works that we can talk to. We do need to be a little bit more prepared for those. So trying to come up with a few sparking questions to get the conversation rolling. Because I know we talked about this before, but like I feel like the 0 minute mark to the 1 hour mark is kind of a little bit tougher to get in the groove, and then once you get past that 1 hour, it's like I feel like that's where the
45 minutes to 1 hour is like something clicks and it just like scoots
the sweet
on
spot of like where the you get past all the surface level stuff that maybe
Mm-hmm.
is like easy for them to talk about, and then you get into the deeper stuff that you can
Yeah.
actually get some like nitty gritty.
Yeah. And so who are we having? We have a few people that we're interviewing coming up. We have Josh. I don't know when because his schedule like never actually went through. And then Sarah, my studio mate, Sarah Anderson.
Sarah Anderson. We
is
got
gonna
Tim
come.
C that we're talking to next week.
Tim C we're talking to next week. Yep. Which I'm so excited for.
Yeah, that one's gonna be good.
He's such a
I'm a little nervous because I feel like I don't have enough questions to start with, but I feel like if we get like 2 or 3 topics, we can get the ball rolling.
Yeah, for sure. And and I'm excited to talk to Sarah too because she's just kind of like blown up. So it'll be good to hear her perspectives on how she's dealing with making money on Instagram and stuff. And
and we're talking to Tara and Matt again. They've got some iffy internet connection.
So we're gonna have to figure that out.
But even mention them here, we got to get them back on, right?
Yeah, we got to. Maybe we can get them when they like visit a friend or something.
I don't know. I want to have enough time though, whatever we do.
Yeah, for sure.
And them, and I feel like there was somebody else. I did kind of want to talk to Link again in the future. That was one that that was an episode that stuck out to me as one that I personally learned a lot from.
Oh my God, I learned so much from that episode.
Episode 95 with Link Henderson. She's the owner and operator of Kentucky Mud Works and Dirty Girl Pottery Tools. And oh, man, just so much knowledge being dropped there with like the sciencey stuff as well as her personality is like great for like us.
Yeah.
Like for like what our podcast is about.
Like finally somebody who cusses more than I do comes on the podcast. Like thank fucking goodness.
It was like refreshing.
Yeah.
So and she's like all about sharing the knowledge and the like the money side of it too, of just making the business stuff important. Yeah, that was great. I did talk to her, by the way, so I texted her and I was like, hey, you got anybody for NCCA? Oh, you did?
We'll see. Yeah, she was like, we'll see what's going on, because she doesn't know how the thing's going to work with COVID or anything like that. But hopefully I'll be throwing for Dirty Girls. That'd be great.
Yeah, they've had the Dirty Girl Pottery Tool booth in the last few years. Instead of like focusing on Kentucky Mudworks, maybe they'll have a Mudworks one because it's actually local. Maybe they'll have both booths or
that's a good point because
like overlap. Because I mean, I feel like it's the perfect market to market their clay.
Mm-hmm.
Since they don't have to transport it halfway across the country.
Right.
Just 2 hours north, and then they're good. Yeah, we got to talk to Link again at some point. And I've reached out to, ironically, well, I don't know if that's the right word there, but I was talking with Heidi back in the day when she was doing Boldly. They were talking to a small business person, CPA person. Yeah. And I reached out to her. And I think she's going to be on the podcast. I wanted to chat with somebody. I think it might be a good time of year. I'll let her know now. That way she can kind of get, hopefully before tax season starts, so we can get her on, get some time with her and chat about some different things, tax related, and just having that kind of information from somebody in that expertise, I think would be very beneficial. And I think we could ask some good questions to those.
For sure.
To that.
For sure.
And we've wanted to interview somebody talking about financial planning and stuff too, or like advising, which is like a friend of my mom that she works with, that does like asset management and stuff. Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be relevant anytime, not just when, the economy's killing it and you've got money to spend, but just some things to like know about finances that would help, like investing or retirement, or how to go about it when you don't have a lot of money or a lot of knowledge about some of these topics that may benefit you for the long term. So, Yeah, we got plenty in the hopper.
Yes. Plenty.
Yeah, let me see. I feel like I had a couple other questions here. Are there episodes that you refer people to?
No.
That when you get questions, you never refer people to anybody, to any episodes?
Sometimes I
do.
refer them to you.
Are there any topics that people ask you about that you're like, we talked about it on the podcast?
All the time.
What topics are they? A lot. I feel like I get a
Everything.
lot of art show questions.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'll like answer like pretty vaguely, and then I'll be like, but also remember we do a podcast. You can, a lot of the times it almost happens more at shows than it does, like on the Insta webs, where they'll be like, what do you think about this? And I'm like, you know what? I
Do
could
they know
explain
you
it
did
to
a
you.
podcast?
No, and I'm always like, you know what? I could explain it to you now, or I could give you my podcast, and then you could just listen there. and, and so, like,
And it's not like I don't answer it as a way to deflect. I just answer it because I want to give you the most in-depth answer I possibly can.
Exactly.
And we literally talked about it for 2 hours.
Right. Like that's the most you're gonna get. Like I'm not gonna give you the same
nobody's
good
gonna
answer.
give you 2 hours one-on-one in person to answer all your questions.
Agreed.
But you could probably get a lot of your questions answered if you listen to 2 or 3 episodes on your own over the next number of months.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can go back to it, or you can find other topics that you have interest in. Yeah, I would say the art show episode 86 and 87.
Mm-hmm.
Shows part 1 and part 2. Like those are the most asked topics that I refer people to. And those are episode numbers I'll never forget. I always tell people those episode numbers. So
you're gonna be like on your deathbed, episode 86 and 87.
Well, we did the story, and I regret even asking that. Like the story thing, like give me a topic that we talked about, and I'll give you a story that shows you all the numbers that we talked.
I watched that and I was like, you're dumb.
I ended up doing the art show ones, and it was literally like 8 episodes. I had to find 8 different episodes that we talked about. Like I'm literally scrolling through all the episode titles and like, did we talk about it here? Did we talk about it here? Like, okay, that one's a good one. All right. And then I went through like 4 different slides of topics, and that was it. I was like, I'm tapped out. I can't do like 13 topics. Like I'm literally going to spend 6 hours documenting this, and how many people are going to get the value out of this.
Hilarious.
So yeah, that's it. Those are the topics that I definitely refer people to a lot. Okay, quick ones. What topics do you enjoy discussing most?
I like business related stuff. Like I love, obviously we both love talking about money, but I like statistical stuff, data, and I don't know. I mean, I like the ones where we don't talk about anything about pottery personally, but like sometimes
like the first 40 minutes of every episode.
Yes. Sometimes I'm like, man, you know what? We should just have a fucking podcast of us just hanging out and not talking about anything. Like just us chilling, But then this is what we do when we don't talk about anything, is that we talk about what we're talking about right now. So, there we are. Anyway. Yeah, and I don't know if there's like any topics that I enjoy more, but I love when people have like pointed questions, like very specific questions,
I always wondered if you liked those when people ask like situational questions where it's like, this is really only gonna cater to like 5 people, most likely.
Right. And I needed this 2 days ago.
Yeah. And sometimes you'll answer them in DMs or through email.
I do.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't mind like answering them, but sometimes I'm like, I'll hold this back because it will actually require more discussion than a quick like 1-minute response through email.
Yeah, I like to email. I like if you ask a question that's timely, I typically am the one that's like, this is the answer that you're probably looking for, and then we put it in the thing, and then we usually end up kind of like
Yeah.
talking about it later. But yeah. And I like talking about like growth and stuff like that, like how to grow things, how to grow your business, how to be more efficient, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like some of those kind of growth topics are, maybe I'm just perceiving that people think it's like negative to look at some of that stuff through data, and it's getting
Mhm.
into like too much science of this when it should be more art.
Yeah.
But I think there's different ways to approach it where you can still appreciate the forms that you're creating and be very specific about the work,
Yeah.
but also have a brain that is always threaded through business,
Right.
because
Yeah.
that's how my brain works. And
Well,
I
that's
mean,
why we're successful doing this podcast, because we're not like two like crazy ADHD artists. We're one crazy ADHD like not artist and one not ADHD person at all. Like normal fucking human being that has like a business mind. Like that's why it works.
yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know, where I feel like some people have like amazing work, and I wish I still have those lingering things in my head of, I really wish I created work that amazing. But it's
Oh
also
yeah.
like I'm kind of in my lane, and I stay in my lane a little bit, and I know
Mhm.
what my lane is, and I can get better and better within that
Yeah.
and still push myself. It might not be as drastic of changes and these huge changes that some people can make, but I don't know. I feel like I'm more of like I'd rather like change 1% a little at a time,
And
so that
that's why
over
you're
time
successful.
it's a big change when you look back a year
Yeah.
past,
Mhm.
and like just focusing on perfecting that, not necessarily perfecting, but like being conscious of like and intentional about the decisions you're making in those short periods,
Mhm.
and then that'll like build over time.
Yeah.
um but I don't know, like I don't know if somebody asked me like, how did you get your business to here? It's like I don't know. I mean, I'm just disciplined, I guess. Like,
Well, yeah, it's through tiny, tiny steps. Like it's through small steps that add up to a big result.
yeah. And it's always like, how do you make your money? And I was like explaining all the different ways that I have it diversified to like make the money. And I do these restocks, or I do the consignment and the wholesale and the shows, and you know the teaching or whatever. And it's like, would I tell other people they need to do all, like, no, you don't need to do all that, but you need to start somewhere, and you need
Yeah.
to like get some experience somewhere, and don't necessarily give up as quickly, if unless you like know that it's like not in you to do something,
Yeah.
that you're like, okay, this is not going to work for the long term. I don't really have an interest in this,
Yeah.
or you know, I don't I don't know. I think you need to get some discipline of like doing it, and like analyzing how it went, and like tweaking something and trying it again.
I think that the thing that both of us have that you have to have in this line of work is that we are both able to grind if we need to. Like we can fucking grind it out if we need to, you know? And that's needed. It's just needed.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, I don't know. Like there's some talk about like grind culture or something. Like I don't feel like I push that. I feel like I just try to document myself. I'm not doing it to show people, but I'm showing people to like say, this is what I put into it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
these are the results I get, and this is possible for other people too.
Yeah, but I mean, like, some people can't
Me.
do that.
Yeah.
You know, like, they can't do that. And they can't, like, throw 100 pots an hour like me, you know, like, it's, or however many, whatever. But, you know, like, we both have abilities that we've worked really hard at to get. And some people aren't willing to work as hard as we have to get there, you know?
Yes.
Like, I'm not willing to work as hard as I have to get where I need to be now. I'm not doing it. I'm like,
Reword
no.
what you just said. What did you just say? Can you
I'm not willing to
that?
I'm not willing to work as hard now as I used to.
Okay, as you used to.
And I'm just not. Sorry, not my
Because
cow.
of the results you get in the end are not worth it.
Yeah, I'd
Right.
rather live a mediocre life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 12.
It is 12.
I've got to like think about all the things I have to take tomorrow to Memphis.
Oh, I did want to mention, I was counting up the number of questions, listener questions.
Oh, yeah.
That we answered. Okay, this does not include Q&A episodes, in which I believe we've had 7 of them.
Okay.
Check out the Q&A episodes. They're
Great.
apparently some of Becca's favorite works to date. Episode 155 was the last one that we did. It was, part 7. Each of those, we probably answered 25 questions.
Yeah.
Something like that. Do you want to guess how many questions we've answered?
Can you give me like a ballpark?
No.
Oh,
I mean, you've seen the note. You scrolled through the note.
I've scrolled through the note. I want to say...
We literally have one note that has all of the questions we've ever answered and upcoming questions. They're all at the top, and then we categorize them, and then we just put them at the bottom.
Okay, I'm going to say 300.
No. You overshot, Becca. 211.
Ooh, nice.
That's a lot of questions.
That's a lot of questions.
I'm sure there's a lot of overlap in there.
Yes, I'm sure.
And I'm sure half of them are probably from about 8 people, but...
Yeah.
I was going to say like 4, but...
From our MVLs, most valuable listeners.
Yes. 211. Sweet. Wow. I feel, and the thing is, you all listening and you all asking us questions, like that is honestly a lot of the content that we get for the podcast.
So please don't stop.
Don't stop asking us questions, as well as like you all are a big part of it. Yeah. I don't know, like Becca was saying, like we don't do it for you, but like the questions do give us kind of fuel. Yeah. To spark conversation. Sure. So I would say we can't do it without you because the questions are a big part of it. So
agreed.
In that
we don't do it for you, but we can't do it without you.
Ooh, like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Like that. All right, let's leave it at there.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Happy 3 years, Becca.
Happy 3 years, Ryan.
All right. Let's get ready for pot swap.
Oh, yay. Bye.
Right, bye.
Fucking pot swap.